Hello, welcome back to another episode on the Bird Real Estate Podcast Show. For the new viewers, I'm your host, Bruce Bird Jr., also known as Bossman Bruce. On this platform, as you should know, but if you don't know, our main goal, our main mission is just not to educate, but also to give those the courage to take that leap of faith for whatever they want to do in their life, using that God gift that they possess on the inside. So, and with the people that I interview on my platform, maybe we'll have some of the stories, or maybe just be something that will motivate you, no matter where you are around the world. On today's episode, we have Orlando Perez. He's a real estate investor, a science educator, and he specialized most of efforts in building people with nearly a decade of experience as an educator in psychoeconomically challenged communities in California, currently in Florida. He developed his Perez Mindset Academy to challenge students with negative experiences and convince them to pivot in their day-to-day actions so that they can be successful in every aspect of their lives. A passion of his is sharing that successful people could contribute to their lives in many ways. His is through real estate investing, inspired by the books Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, where he lives by the motto, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, he can achieve. This allows Orlando to be the best version of himself for his lovely wife of 12 years and his two incredible children, which he calls the why he attributes his success to. Can you guys please help me welcome Orlando Perez? How you doing today?
I'm good, Bruce. First, man, I wanted to say thanks for allowing me to be on your podcast and being a part of your platform and what you've been doing for your community and your family. It's truly a wonderful opportunity. I'm just blessed to cross paths with you, my man, and just have a genuine conversation about what it is to be a father and person who just loves giving back, man.
That's very great. That's all what I'm about, is giving back. The greatest gift in life is service. And until we understand that service is a big major part of our duty on this earth. It's not what people can do for us, but what we can serve and do for other people's lives. You know. So as you know, it's a three-part section of topics. The first topic is about who you are. The second topic is about your company. And the third is about what you're up to now. So with the first topic, who is Orlando Perez as a man? Not the real estate investor, not nothing else, but who are you as a person?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it kind of jumps into, we are a product of our environment, essentially. My father immigrated from Cuba when he was 14 years old. Met my mom in Chicago. They got married young. They had my brother in Chicago, and then we moved out to California. I was born there, born and raised in Cali. I spent the last 41 years there. I have an older brother and then a younger sister. Both of them college educated. Just family was always the big thing, and then now as a father and a husband, father of two, 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I know you got children yourself, so you can imagine that's a beast within itself, and then just sharing my vivid vision with my wife. And luckily for us, we're in a position right now to be with our kids. My wife homeschools the kids, and she's a stay-home mom. She was blessed with 21 years of experience in special education. Last 9 for me is in teaching science. But who I am as a person who just loves to be the bridge to where people are and where they want to go, whatever aspect that is, either through education, through real estate, or even just listening. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to, and then hearing their own thoughts, right, and their actions and their words, and then just basically building from there and seeing how we could reverse engineer whatever the current situation is. And that's really what I find where I'm at my best, is helping people just by listening and providing value in that way. A little bit more about me. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing that for the last on and off for 12 years. So that's a whole different beast as well, too, just with mental chess. It is a gentle art, but it really is life. And there's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be negativity. But my biggest thing that I give to anybody and tell anybody is winning the war between the ears. And that even happens in the classroom, at home, when you're doing an investment deal, even when you're rolling on the mats with people who are just significantly better than you, right? There's always an exit strategy, but you have to figure out a way to pivot, by listening to what the details are so that you can figure out what's the best strategy for you. And that applies to everything in life. So yeah, man, that's a little bit about me.
Okay. I believe listening plays a big part of life also. It can help you from not going into a destructive stage in your life. It can help you to avoid a lot of things. It can help you live longer too when you take the proper advice, the right advice. Because I believe God um, put it on people's heart to give you the advice, to speak to you, to direct you to go on that path that He has for you. It becomes powerful when you hear. I say, if I once I hear it in threes, it's a wrap for me. I don't need to hear nothing else because I know it got to be true if I hear it in threes, you know. And listening, I say listening is my ear is my eyes. That's what I because I can visualize what a person need by listening, you know, and I'm big on listening as well. So the next question is what are your personal strengths?
My personal strength is really being an avid listener. In education, man, like you have to deal with the problem at hand, and it's really getting the students to buy into a system, right? Whatever that system may be, be for different people, right? But if I've done anything in education and working with so many different type of kids, adults, professionals, administrators, and really taking that information, a lot of people want to have answers, but they're answering the wrong question. So you have to really dive into what is the question that someone needs in order to get what they want, in order for them to be successful. And that is the one thing that my strength is really listening. Then from there, utilizing the person's talents and figuring out what's the best exit strategy for them. Again, it could be a grade, could be an investment opportunity, but again, it's really listening and asking the right questions. The great Ed Milet said this question: the person who controls the conversation is done by questions, right? So if you can ask the most questions, you control the conversation. You ask a question, you control your learning. You ask a question, you control your investment. You control the amount of money that you return on how much you put in, because you're asking the right questions. Jim Rohn also said you got to be a professional problem solver, right? That's what we do as parents, educators, as investors, right? What's the question that you're asking? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Wow, like I know me and my uncle had a conversation about that also about controlling conversations and stuff like that. And like you said before, it's all about questioning. Questioning, you able to listen to what a person needs is also questioning, go back to listening. That's a big thing. And then you get your answer. So that's a big thing. What are some like challenges or what is your greatest experience in being a high school science teacher? What that um you contributed in helping a child?
That's a great question, man. I don't know about you. When I did my science in high school, it was sit there and be quiet and just take massive notes, because the teacher was on the whiteboard just writing a bunch of equations, and they told you needed to memorize that, and you had work in the book or a textbook, and you had to answer those questions. Maybe every once in a while you may have a collaborative learning session, a presentation, or some degree. And unfortunately, again, as those times are no longer existent, they no longer benefit our youth. What I bring to the table with my students as a high school educator is more of collaborative learning, right? So it's not about me teaching them a bunch of not useless information, because again, you never know where someone's going to take my message, my lecture, my direct instruction, my collaborative learning, my centers and how I run my class, and maybe get discouraged about science. And then that would be a complete disservice. What I would have wished when I was a teenager or if I was going through high school was really opening the floodgates to say, like, hey, this is what you can do with a degree in science. My background was in neuroscience, right? I really wanted to become a neurosurgeon, had the aspirations to go to the Navy, become a Navy SEAL doctor, actually in special operations. That was my goal. And that only came about, once I met other people who were in the service and I met other neurosurgeons throughout my undergraduate experience. Now, my mentor was a migrant from Mexico, came at 19 years old, actually is the chief of neurosurgery at Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. That's a whole different level of experience, right? But again, it was my mentorship, me being mentored by him that really got me in, like, medicine's a big deal. But again, he also said that there were people in his life that gave him different opportunities and exposed him to different experiences that allowed him to be even the idea of, oh, you know what, I could become a doctor, let alone a neurosurgeon, right? So tying it back into how I run my class is really I start from bottom up. It's not this top down leadership, right? Oh, sit in your seat because I told you to do so. No, it's like, hey, I could identify who the students are who need the most amount of work the moment I catch them at the door, right? So if a student has a negative experience at home, perfect example. And you and I were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Dude is my dude, right? And long story short, got this dude who's got a lot of problems at home, beefing with his family, and some students were beefing with him on campus. And I was able to neutralize the situation. The moment I checked him at the door, hey, my man, what's going on? Oh, Mr. Perez, he's got his head down. No. Can't come into my class with this negative energy. Mr. Perez, I'm gonna get in trouble if I'm not in class. Don't worry, man, I got you. Write him a pass. Let the administrators know my dude's gonna be walking around campus. He has my permission as a hall pass. Keep an eye out for him. And sure enough, the team, the administrators, we just kept an eye on him. He was safe. He came back, but he came in with a clear mind. What did the kid do as soon as he came into my class? Opened up his textbook. His interactive notebook. Got jumped in like it wasn't even a skip. He didn't even skip a beat. But had I just let him in with all that negative energy, what's the likelihood that he was going to be disruptive? Probably, right? That's the difference, right? So again, it's like working with the students, building relationships with them, checking in with them. My dude was good. For my athletes, I'm always checking in with them. What's up with your grades? How are you doing with your classes? Right. And then again, it's like talking about side projects. Hey, Mr. Perez, what do you do outside of school? I'm in real estate. What? And they just think that I'm a real estate agent and I got all this money in the world. And it's not like that at all. It's more of like, hey, I could do this thing, teaching for whatever hours I'm in class. But then after that, I'm also an investor. I'm working on my real estate license out here in Florida as well too. I was a licensed agent in California. But yeah, man, just having conversations about real world experiences and I feel like we need more of that because again, you get to get the kids buy-in and buy into the program. Because then if you ask them to say, hey, my dude, I need you to write this paper for me. I need you to finish it before the end of class. They may not finish it, but at least they're working. And that's a skill, unfortunately, that we need to develop, not only in our own kids, but in our students. Just work, put your head on and work, grind, right? Deal with adversity. If it's hard, do it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I believe, they get excited because we have access to somebody that's doing something great, and in a community where it's like kind of poverty or negative backgrounds where their family, like you said, the young kid have a negative experience at home. It's like I have access to this. I have access to positive energy. I have access to know I can do more in life, and just to have a teacher like you that cares. That's what we missing in these schools now. Teacher that actually cares and not just there just to get a paycheck. Like, oh, I'm gonna teach these bad kids something, but if one of them had a thought of I'm gonna save one bad kid every year, just one, that kid will come back to you and tell you what difference you made in their life. You know, And that's something we missing, will we give it back? I don't know. But I know some good teachers out there like yourself, and that gives me hope.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man, and I love my squad. Every team that I've been a part of always has its challenges, right? But again, it's like, why are we there? Are we there to collect a paycheck, really? Because unfortunately, educators aren't paid like like a normal position, maybe, right? And then especially with all the emotional baggage that comes in, and it goes back to winning the war between the ears. Why are we here? How are we giving back? Little time that I'm here on this earth, I want to be doing some sort of imprint. And then you never know, man. You might have a conversation about someone with real estate and they become a real estate mogul, an investor, and right, and they start seeing that they could actually change the environment of their culture, right? Ooh, this person had a conversation with the teacher because it was investing, because it was real estate, because it came up that he does it on the side, right? And then
Mm.
all of a sudden now that kid's generational wealth is completely different because someone had a conversation with him about doing something extra, not just the bare minimum becoming a teacher.
Yeah, that's perfect. And my other question before we go to the next topic is, what do you love about life?
You know, right now, I it, it's just being present with my kids. And there's so much unfortunate negative energy around us with death, social media, right? And people think that time is like cyclical, right? It just keeps going. It's not. It's really an hourglass, right? You just never know when your time is going to come up. And I'm hoping, my time doesn't come up soon, but if it does, I'm hoping that I've done some sort of good that, provides value to my son and my daughter so that when they are parents themselves, they're like, man, I had the model of my wife, well, actually their mom, my wife, and us, and what we've gone through, all the sacrifices we've done, and really trying to enjoy as much time as we can and benefit into, being uh, parents that just provide a strength of character for them and integrity. Because a kid, we want to make sure our kids have that. That's the true definition of, are you really doing what you want for your kids? And did your parents do a good job with you? Right. So, like, how do your kids turn out? And I really hope and I feel that they're in the path of becoming very good kids with strong character and integrity. And that's the one thing that I want to drive is enjoying life and providing that for them.
You know, um, my biggest thing about life is that, like I said, I go back to service. I think about God. I think about service. You know, I feel like if I follow God's duties in life, people see my service as people see the service Jesus did when he walked this earth, and even my kids will see it also as well. And that's one attribute I took is about service. Like me doing, on my platform, just giving service to, educate and give information to those, not just in the aspect of just people hearing about success stories in real estate, but hearing the journey, and it's letting people know that nobody's exempt from the journey. No, nobody exempt from pain. Nobody exempt from suffering. Nobody exempt from rejection. You know, and that's the whole thing, that you give information like you're not alone. That's one of the greatest things I love about life. You know.
Yeah, and then it goes back to you teach your kids to have integrity and character, right? Because again,
Mhm.
they're gonna cross some sort of struggle and some sort of obstacle, right? But the mental fortitude of like, hey, we got to do this right to get out of this current situation. But again, how are your parents, me, my parents? How
Mhm.
did I demonstrate that this is what we do on a day-to-day basis, right?
True.
And yeah, service is part of that process.
Okay. The next question, we go to the next topic, which is real estate. You know what I'm saying? Something I'm excited about. I know something you get excited about. First, let the viewers know your company's name. You know.
So our company is Perez Developers. So we actually it's a husband and wife team. And
Mm. I like
my wife and I have been doing real estate since 2010 when we acquired our first property. But now we started in California, and now we're expanding to Tennessee and Florida. Our goals is to really put ourselves in a specific niche. Um, yeah, man, this is what we do.
Okay. Why did you get started in real estate? Out of all of the other professions, and why real estate?
You know,
What's your why?
that's an amazing question, man, and I appreciate that you said that. I grew up watching my father get dialed in. He would always get dressed up, shirt and tie, in his suit. People always thought he was all from the Italian mafia, but he was Cuban. But he would have his slick haired back, and he always told me, "Mijo, you always got to make your shoes are shine." And I was like, "Why?" Something about a man's shoes, and then firm hand grip. That was just implanted in my head as an early age, right? So you just figure out that's what it is. And then he was in investment banking, real estate construction banking, and then took the plunge and became a realtor. And for the last 36 years, 37 years, he's been in real estate. Last 7 years, took the plunge and became a broker and opened up his own company. Now, when he expanded out to wanting to become a broker, he and I always had this idea like I would come work with him. I'm kicking myself now. In 2000, I think it was 2000, 2001. It was like right after high school. My dad was working. And he was like, "Mijo, you should get your real estate license." And I was like, well, I didn't want to do it because I saw that he was working, and I was really adamant on going to medical school. So my focus was like, if I have to go and see clients, it was going to interfere with my real estate, with my classes, because I really wanted to become a doctor. But I realized later on in life that I could have gone to school anywhere I wanted. I could have chosen my classes whenever I wanted, and I could have done real estate during the day, gotten my license, built a brokerage with my dad, and I would have been in a completely different position, whether I became a doctor or not, just by the power of real estate, knowing that now, right? So last year, I actually joined his brokerage, and he became super proud, that he had his son on the team. But it was like one of those things that we had already had the vision of moving to Florida, and now we're expanding from California to Florida to open up another brokerage, for the firm. So the real estate that my wife and I do, and again, it's a team thing. She's all administrative. She does all the paperwork, dealing with the banks. I'm the person on the phone making the phone calls. But luckily for us, we've been able to acquire 3 rental properties. 2 of them we do Section 8, which is amazing, by the way, because when COVID hit, unfortunately, we have a lot of friends who are investors as well too. They were dealing with the whole pandemic and people losing their jobs and not being able to make up their mortgages. On the first of every month, we didn't skip a beat. It was just that money was deposited, and that is a true benefit to having something like that as an arsenal, a tool belt when you're real estate investing. And luckily for us, the families that are still there are doing an amazing job, keeping up the house, paying down the mortgage, building the equity. Again, that's an investment tool that we've been exploring. And now we are in the process of doing a short-term rental out here near Central Florida, nearby Walt Disney World, Universal Studios. Just again, it's a market for short-term rentals out here, and we are just in that process. So that's kind of like what we do. And then also we have a flip going on in Tennessee. We're about to wrap that up. That one was a very unique experience. But again, experience is experience, no matter how valuable it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like what we've been doing in real estate.
Okay. Now we about to, viewers want to know also, how did you do it? How did you like? Did you take out a loan? Did you use credit card to buy your first property, or how did you go about possessing and getting your first property?
That's a great question, man. So again, I'm not going to take any ownership in this. This is all my wife. Her and I both knew when we were dating that we were going to at some point acquire a property. I wasn't in the position to purchase anything, but luckily for her, she was. And at that time, California offered an incentive program to help teachers qualify for a loan, a home loan, and then at a discounted price. So you only had to pay 3% of the house, and then they would finance the first 80%, and then they would defer the last 17% in 5 years, under the impression that you would stick it with the education, and then you would get a pay increase, and then once that additional 17% jumped in, then you'd be able to make up that payment. But what we ended up doing was, as soon as that time came up, we just did a cash out refi, and sure enough, we took that money out, and then we purchased another property in the city that we currently lived before we moved out here to Florida. So then we just rented that property out, and then we were building equity in our other house, and then yeah, that's how we started on our first deal. And then the one that really put us on to the next level on why we knew we could do this was we actually built an ADU from ground up development. We went through the whole process of acquiring architecture, doing the plans, going through revisions, working with the architecture, all during the pandemic. So unfortunately, California was shut down, right? The rest of the world's going, they're moving to thing. California, for whatever the reasons are, not to get too political, it is what it is. We just kept moving forward. And I like what your previous host Kevin Davis said. It's like moving the ball, moving the line, right? You just got to keep moving the ball, and that's what we did. Even if it was follow up with the county, hey, where are our plans? Hey, getting a phone call with somebody, all while my wife and I were teaching and running homeschooling for the kids, because everyone was homeschooling their kids. It was virtual learning, or was it, right? We were learning too.
You're right. Ooh, yeah.
So luckily for us, that project, turned into something great. We learned a lot, and we learned the systems to take to build a house from ground up.
That's amazing. That's amazing, because I know, like, people be wanting to know, like, we want to know the steps, what to do, but it's different steps in real estate to get into real estate. And people got to understand that. So everybody have that unique way of getting into real estate. Like you said before, you can refinance, take the cash out, get into real estate, or you can get credit cards and in your business name, and use that credit card to fund your real estate, or you can build money up from family members or private investors, and so many ways, so many avenues. You can start wholesaling, and so many ways. So, like, and I want to exploit some of the ways, in real estate. My next question is, what was the feeling knowing that you accomplished something when you did your first deal? The one that took you over, like, hold on. What was the reaction for you and your wife?
So it's funny that you said that, because we were doing that ADU. It was the ground up development. Found even the process of trying to locate the right contractor, that was a project, right? We had our Excel spreadsheets, all driven by my wife, by the way. Again, she's the organized person. She was like, you're going to make the phone calls. These are the questions you're going to ask. We're going to have everything written down and organized. And again, I think we went through 12 different contractors before we found the one that actually did our project for us. And then the range was just ridiculous. It was literally like buying a house. And we were like, it just doesn't add up. Again, the numbers didn't make sense. But just even navigating that, and finally putting a spin on, like, we just got to get the project done. And then once we finished, and then when they did the appraisal and that number came back, and we were like, wow, we just added that much value to the lot. We're going to be able to get our money back. And it was the amount that we put in, plus a substantial amount that allowed us to put a down payment out here in Florida. So again, it's like one of those things that, like, yeah, we knew we could do this because we did it during the pandemic. Like, everyone had a reason not to work, but we still got it done, right? So that was the moment that we were like, yep. So that's why we're currently in the model of flipping out here in Florida and focusing on that as our business model.
Okay. What are you guys' goals for your company in the next 5 years?
So the goal is in the next 5 years, we want to be RVing across the country, buying and flipping houses remotely. That's the goal. So we have our current, as you could tell, right? My wife did all these stencils. So we're theming out this house because we know this is going to be a short-term rental for us. It's not our forever home, right? But we want to spend as much time as we can with our kids while we're enjoying living here. We're gonna theme it out. But like in the next 5 years, we want to get an RV, go across the country, go all the national parks, allow my wife to do her consulting business in special ed remotely, and we can buy and invest and flip properties remotely as well too, while we're spending time with our kids.
That's perfect. I'm about to head to the last topic. Last topic is what are you up to now? Meaning, what do you guys got going on now? Are you mentoring, not just with kids, but real estate? I hear you guys trying to expand out. Or are you looking for capital, or want more partners? What are you guys up to now?
Yeah, it's a great question. For us, it's more of like we're trying to partner up with people who have capital, right? Unfortunately, we know that we can go so far together, but with others, we can go further, right? And where there's just so many different ways that we could take a project and have the money work for them. But again, people are not aware of different strategies. They could tap into their 401k, their investment properties, right, or private lending. Again, there's just so many different avenues that we could actually help individuals uh, take that investment and then get a higher return on their investment compared to the bank. We're also looking for acquisition managers right now, people to look for us for deals in the MLS. We have investors that are ready to partner up with. Again, it's just finding the numbers and finding the right deal. And then the other thing is too is just growing it into something that the family is going to be able to benefit from. And we really want to see it as this is a family thing. Kids are involved, wife's involved, our parents are involved, and we really want to spread this wealth building platform of what we call real estate. And again, we're luckily to be in the presence of some really good people, some mentors. We're part of a mentorship program through Future Flipper, now a wealthy investor. But yeah, man, it's been a journey, learning a lot and just getting after it.
Okay. Where my last question: what would you tell your old self, that the college you, or the 10-year-old you, now that you're in this position that you're in?
Man, the great Nike sign, just do it, right? And just get over it, man. Like get over the war, like win the war between your ears. And I tell my students this all the time. If I sat my old version of myself right here, I would give that dude an earful so bad. And I would make him realize, hey, your future self is depending on all your actions that you're doing right now. Right? So in 5 years, if you don't do it now, you're just going to delay it 5, 10 years. And then in 5 years, you're still not doing the actions. You're just going to make it harder for yourself. And I know people like they hear that all the time from different people and from loved ones, and they look at it as a form of negative energy, but it's all in the tone of the delivery. And I know myself now, had I gone back, I would have just laid out a blueprint. Hey, this is what's going to happen if you don't do this. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. That's how I would go back and tell myself, this is what I need to do, right, in order to put my family in a better position, so I can put my kids in a better position. um yeah, just do it. Stop overthinking it. No analysis by paralysis, right?
Mm, that's excellent. Where can the viewers find you if they want to do deals, if they want to have mentorship, uh, if they want anything from you, what I'm saying, that's positive. Where can viewers find you and your team?
Yeah, for sure. I'm big on social media, specifically Instagram. My wife and our Instagram page is Perez Developers, all one word. And yeah, you can reach out to me. I'm constantly on there, checking in with people, building people. Again, that's what my wife and I do. We really want to build people to the best of their abilities and just use them as their talents and help them make them more successful than what they currently are. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram.
Okay, that's perfect. You got a website at all, or anything?
No, Instagram is basically it right
Okay,
now.
okay, okay. Yeah. I want to thank you for coming on my platform. I know it's been a pleasure. Just not even that. Me and you spoke off my platform also, and I was like, just hearing you and how we was compatible, and we had something in common, which was giving service. How you do with the kids, and how how I do what I do, and also we both share kids, and aspect of trying to lead them down the right path. And I appreciate you coming on and just displaying what do you bring to society. And we need, like I said before, we need more teachers like you. We need, when you got somebody like yourself inside them schools, and you doing what you do, you just not a teacher, just more to you than teaching. And some kids not gonna go to college. Some kids are not don't is not pro athletes. Some kids, are borderline if they want to sell drugs or not. And just to have a teacher like you that's present, that they had access to, give them hope. Because I know if I had a teacher like you myself, it would give me hope. No, I could really do real estate. I didn't know nothing about real estate, and I can teach this. I can teach science and teach real estate. Just a little bit, just give you a little seed, plant a little seed for your future. And I know God has used you in the direction He wants you to go in, take you down that path right there. And that's excellent. And I appreciate you coming on my platform to share your story as well.
Hey man, again, Bruce, this has been an amazing conversation. I appreciate you, brother. And again, I just love what you're doing with your platform. It's gonna be successful, man. I just can't wait to see this blow up for you, man.
Well, man, appreciate it, appreciate it. From the viewers, please like, comment, subscribe on I Am Boss Man TV. Follow me on Instagram. Also, add me as a friend or follow me on Facebook, Bruce Bird. Until then, this concludes the interview. I want to thank you guys for viewing. I want to thank Mr. Orlando Perez just giving the knowledge and gems, and I hope you take use in it and use it. That's the whole thing about this platform, using it. Thank you again.